Hello there, salty gamers. This is just a little lazy video compiling all the worst takes of the month from my Random News of Gaming series for 2024, for your convenience. If you already watched all of my RNG videos from 2024, you've seen all this before, so feel free to tune out from this point onwards. But maybe you'll enjoy going on a trip down the memory lane of horrendous gaming takes from across 2024. If you haven't, well, prepare yourself. Obviously, there's probably some horrendous takes I missed throughout the year because, after all, I'm only one guy who can only witness so much. So if you want to contribute to this series, feel free to hop in my Discord. Don't forget to drop a like and let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree with the placement if you want, or if you think I missed something that deserves to take the #1 spot. With all that out of the way, enjoy.
This is bait.
Which brings us to the worst take of the month. Ready for a doozy this time? Here we go.
PS5 owners are now treated like black people in 1939 USA. We are now second-class gamers and neither Sony or Square care about us anymore. Just like black people had to give up their civil rights, we PS gamers are having to forfeit our exclusives.
Right. So, full disclosure here. This is a troll post, obviously, no matter how much the dude tries to deny it. But at the same time, look at how many people took the bait. And sure, he got completely ratioed into oblivion, but I bet you there are some people in that 1,200 likes that read this, took this seriously, and thought, yup, and hit the like button. I can damn near guarantee that some of those likes are genuine, holy shit. But damn, what a thing to compare losing exclusivity to having your human rights violated, even as a joke. Like, I've heard the Sony ponies say some wild shit, and to a degree, this take probably has a degree of sincerity to it, as the dude is a known legit PlayStation fanboy.
One game, I don't know why. Exposed.
But hey, leave it to the Sony Pony Defense Force to come out and defend the hell out of this thing. Yeah, you know what that means. It's time for the worst take of the month. Yeah, we had some PlayStation Corpo cock gobbler fanboys literally engaging in life ruination by copyright striking other people's channels for roasting them last month, which is like, god damn, these ponies are deranged. But for the actual worst take, this time, it's more about who is making the take specifically. You expect this kind of irrational consumer behavior from the PlayStation fanboys, but you shouldn't expect it from someone whose job it is to be entirely impartial to the gaming industry. You know, like maybe someone who runs a little show called The Game Awards. Jeff Keighley. As soon as this thing was announced and most people clearly weren't having it, Jeff put it upon himself to go on a tweeting spree running damage control for this console. Jeff, what the fuck are you doing, my guy? This isn't your job. Like, I know, people might say, well, he can have his own personal opinions too, you know? And yes, but he kind of signed his responsibility not to show his bias when he decided to do this whole Game Awards thing, didn't he? I talked about this a little bit back in my video about the Game Awards back in July, where I mentioned that a few of the people involved in the quote-unquote real Game Awards are strongly biased towards Nintendo. And that will trickle into some of the audience looking for confirmation bias. You have to commit to impartiality if you want to be taken seriously for something like this. And Jeff has been failing at that for quite a while, usually more subtly. But this time, he has gone full mask off pony.
It's time to stop.
Or delete your show. We'd be better off without it anyway.
Stop it.
Now, on to the worst take of the month. And this time, we got something that's not really related to anything talked about in this video so far. Nah. Instead, we get to go back to 2011 for a video talking about consoles versus PC. Yes, apparently this is still a thing that console fanboy peasants feel the need to embarrass themselves about, for some reason. In fact, there were more than one of these kinds of videos that came out last month, but the one I selected is a video by a small YouTuber by the name Full Battle Jacket called PC Gamers Just Don't Understand PS5 Pro, PlayStation 5 Pro versus PC. Yeah, surprise, surprise, it's a PlayStation guy.
I'm shocked. Shocked. Well, not that. that shot.
And while this video is really bad, I'm gonna be a bit less harsh this time because I don't think this is one of the other kinds of belligerent dickhead ponies we tend to see on Twitter. Dude seems like a nice guy at the end of the day. Anyway, let's get into it.
PC gamers, you guys just don't understand the PS5 Pro.
Are you sure about that?
And number one is friction. No, not that kind of friction, you degenerates. I mean the kind of friction where, you know, you install the game and then you're messing around with, you know, video drivers and other drivers for your, you know, other components of your PC. Or how about dialing in the best PC settings for a particular game?
It's amazing how these arguments are still being made to this day. Yes, the consoles are easier, but setting up a PC is easy as well. The only way you would have significantly more difficulty setting up a PC over a console is if you're completely tech illiterate and don't know how to operate Windows, which I hope is not becoming more common because holy shit. But I have heard that the new generation's tech literacy is actually declining because of how apps nowadays do everything for you on phones and tablets and whatnot. But you, Mr. Full Battle Jacket, are making this video. You probably own and use a PC, so that's not an excuse for you. Also, the driver's argument. That shit happens automatically now, you don't need to do it yourself. Also, I'm not going to go over the entire video like I did with Harmon's because it would take too long.
On to number two, experience. A desk versus the living room.
You can plug a PC into a TV in the living room. You can plug a console into a monitor at a desk. In fact, that's how mine are set up. This is not an argument. Stop making it.
But for me, I play single player, narrative heavy games, very cinematic titles such as Death Stranding, or Horizon, or The Last of Us, or Uncharted.
Of course you play cinematic games, you PlayStation gamer you. How about trying something other than third-person cinematic action-adventure with stealth elements games from time to time, like a management sim or an RTS or something like that. They're really fun, I promise.
Point number three is, I'm sorry guys, but the PS5 Pro is still cheaper than a PC.
I don't like going into the cost argument because if your goal in making a PC is to match the consoles, you're doing it wrong. Graphics are not important. Performance is, and you can make exceptions in some cases, like if you're playing a turn-based game and the frame rate drops, you know, big deal. But I could make the argument that performance isn't as important as the inherent benefits of gaming on PC versus a console. I have an i7 6700K GTX 1070 pre-built that I got in 2016. Yes, boo me all you want. And I could still play everything except a tiny handful of the most high-end games out there. Most games I can still get to run at 60 FPS or higher by using lower settings, even with my old-ass rig.
One final point on the cost. I know me. I have no self-control. None at all. If I were to go down the road of building myself a PC, I would want the best of the best that I could build at the time that I'd build it.
That sounds like a you problem.
Reason number four, portability.
I'm skipping the portability argument because it's not important.
And so reason number five, and this one, from many people's perspective, may be the most dumb.
And here's the part of the video that stuck out to me and made me want to feature it as worst take of the month. Oh boy, here we go.
I'm captive to the PS5 ecosystem. What do I mean by that? I have hundreds of games in my library. And I'm also a trophy hunter. Years ago, when Xbox introduced achievements, I thought the notion of this like metagame of completing certain mundane tasks for a digital accolade was pointless. Like, it made no sense. It was just plain stupid. But then I got my first platinum trophy years ago. At the time, it happened to be Killzone 2, and it took me quite a bit of effort to get that platinum. And when I got it, the feeling, like just like the endorphins, that like there's something chemically that occurs for some people. I have an addictive personality, so when that happened, I was hooked. And so, you know, I've actually bought games multiple times that launched on other platforms and then later came to the PlayStation just so that I could get the trophies.
Okay, at least he is somewhat self-aware, but holy shit. So you've at least made the first step. You've admitted you have a problem, but instead of trying to fix it, you double down on it willingly. I don't know about you guys, but I think trophies and achievement systems have been a net negative to gaming in general. I can get into that in another video if you want, but he admits to one of the main problems I have with them. He's captive, as he says, and that's by design. One of the main reasons these systems exist is to keep you on one marketplace so they can keep getting money out of you, and for no benefit whatsoever in the place where it actually matters. In-game. Remember the times when games rewarded you in-game rather than outside of it, and not just with microtransactions? Pepperidge Farm remembers. Why did I say that? I don't know. Listen, guy, it's fine if you prefer PlayStation, but you gotta realize when the company is just taking you for a ride, and you were so close to getting there. This undeserved loyalty is going to bite you in the ass eventually, especially when it comes to a company like Sony that's pretty much becoming the Apple of gaming, with no games.
One game, I don't know why.
Look, I had to at least once. Anyway, don't be a corporate slave, or a corporate captive. Just don't do it.
I am not a number. I am a free man.
Do not come.
What I will make a big deal out of is this splash screen trigger warning, or rather, a particular take on it in, you guessed it, the worst take of the month.
Many video games are a product of the times they were created in. As we look to recreate and remaster these stories for modern audiences, it's important to consider the implications of these harmful portrayals and do our part to rewrite new history, not repeat it. We applaud our peers at Crystal Dynamics for their reflections and corrections.
You caught that, right? Whatever. I'm just gonna play this. I really don't like getting political on my channel, but holy fucking shit, this is an actual developer at Xbox saying this about a certain game, so I can't really rule it out either. Rewriting new history. Really? If you knew literally anything about history, you would know that rewriting it is the worst thing you can do. And guess what else? Yeah, they work with that company. See my older video if you don't know what they do, but they've been involved in a lot of drama as I was making this video, so I'd rather talk about it here.
I think you should die.
In order to do that, he had to max out his score and keep going until the game locks up with the right conditions, commonly known as a kill screen. I believe Pac-Man has one too, and probably a ton of others, but yeah, congrats to this champ. But with that said, as nothing in this world of gaming can ever be totally positive, this leads us into the worst take of the month. Take it away, Boomer.
Well, 13-year-old American Willis Gibson has technically proven that wrong. He beat the original Nintendo version of the game by reaching such a high level that the coding froze. That left the program unable to generate any more falling blocks. As a mother, I would just say step away from the screen, go outside, get some fresh air. Beating Tetris is not a life goal. Speaking of fresh air, let's get a look at the weather.
Bitch, shut the fuck up. Just shut the fuck up. Holy shit. How can you be so unbearably smug and shit on a 13-year-old kid's good day? Like, what the unprofessional fuck? Like, if she had said that shit to me, I don't know, I'd probably just be like, yeah, fuck off. But I can't help but get a little defensive of this young guy. Go outside, get some fresh air, she says. Bitch, it's the middle of fucking January. And you say Tetris isn't a life goal, like, no shit. Neither is being a cunt and a professional dishonest propagandist to the public, like all these shitty news stations like yours are.
Wow, waffle!
God damn, what else do I even need to say? Well, it's true that she wasn't the only one poo-pooing on this kid's accomplishment on the internet. In fact, you can probably find a bunch of people doing the same thing if you look hard enough. But it had to have been her unbridled arrogance that caused her to go more viral than anyone else.
Shut the fuck up. Stop being a fucking cunt. Shut the fuck up. Nobody even wants you here.
Nope.
Speaking of which, on to the worst take of the month. I'm gonna be real, the worst take I saw was from Harmon Smith again.
It's over.
But I'd rather not beat a dead horse, so each individual will only be featured once a year max. Instead we have... oh no. I knew this day would come eventually. It's Kotaku. Alright, let's keep this short. Basically, this is supposed to be a review of Elden Ring's DLC, but you see who it's written by. Alyssa Mercante, tourist, activist, clickbaiter extraordinaire. Instead of just doing a straight-up review, the first 2 paragraphs are about how she twists this DLC into something relatable for the quote-unquote harassment campaign she's had to deal with, which, you know, she kind of facilitated and even encouraged with her own ridiculous behavior the past few months.
Come fight me. Physically. Bitch.
And that's pretty much all that you need to know. The rest of the review is all info you can get from a more credible source elsewhere. This kind of nonsense is why Kotaku is a pox on the video game industry, and I have no problems with any efforts to put them out of business.
It's over.
Now, for the moment you've all been waiting for. After all the Stellar Blade drama, and all the localization drama, and all the other drama that happened this month, surely I have a banger for this edition of Worst Take of the Month. But guess what? It has nothing to do with anything I've talked about in this video so far. Shocking, I know. There's a guy on YouTube that has been getting pretty infamous over the years, who is probably the biggest Nintendo simp fanboy on the internet, who constantly makes low-effort videos full of factually wrong nonsense on a daily basis, who, despite not doing anything other than talk to his camera on YouTube in his basement, managed to get his own Kiwi Farms page, which I won't be showing here. But you could pick out so many of his videos out of a hat and get some horrendous takes and schizo moments like, Nintendo takes down Gary's mod, PC emulation is finished. Or, I just realized that every Taylor Swift song is about me. Or, Princess Peach Showtime is better than Stellar Blade. Or, a collection of videos with a weird fixation on YouTuber Ricada Law for some reason. Or how about legalize Nope, I don't think I should say that one on YouTube, holy shit. But the one I want to focus on today is strictly gaming related. A video called There Is Nothing to Play on Steam. PC gaming is a joke. That's right, get your padded rooms ready for this one, folks. I present to you the one, the only, Harmon Smith.
I have spent the last 2 days doing nothing but playing games on Steam. That's right. I got my high-end gaming PC set up. You know, I downloaded a bunch of games. I was searching through the libraries. I was looking at the Steam store. I was looking at the Steam sales. I was looking at upcoming releases. I was sitting there for hours and hours and hours trying to find something to play on Steam. And once again, there was absolutely nothing.
How about that for an intro? You spent 2 days trying to find shit to play on Steam, the largest library of games in existence, and you couldn't find anything. Are you sure you like video games, my guy? I'm gonna skip around the video a little because he waffles around quite a lot, but holy shit.
Doesn't have Unicorn Overlord, doesn't have Princess Peach Showtime, doesn't have, like, you know, another Code R or Mario vs. Donkey Kong. You know, I have had so many good, alright games on Nintendo Switch this year, and Steam doesn't have a fraction of that.
Now you're just straight up lying, dude. Because we all know the only reason you liked those games on the Nintendo Switch is because they were on the Nintendo Switch.
You know, what am I going to play on this thing? Tekken 8 with its battle passes and its microtransactions and its censored female characters? No. Like, I'm not going to play Tekken 8. You know, I have good fighting games. You know, like, if I want to play Tekken, like, I'll just play Tekken 7. Like, I don't need Tekken 8. Okay? Like, if I want to play a good fighting game, I'll play Soul Calibur 2.
Imagine bringing up Soul Calibur fucking 2 into the conversation of relevant fighting games. Honestly. And I love me some Soul Calibur too, but we all know why he'd go there.
Bro, it's sad how much better Soul Calibur 2 looks, plays, and feels compared to Soul Calibur 6. Like, it's embarrassing listening to that awful voice acting, seeing these terrible character models, like, seeing, like, the world have so much less personality. You know, gone are, like, the epic narration, the cool original stage design, the great opening cinematic, like, the amazing music, you know, Link, you know, like the greatest character in any fighting game ever.
And there it is!
Of course he would go there. And he calls Link the best fighting game character ever? May I remind you the last time we had tier lists for Soul Calibur 2? I couldn't find an official one, but I did find this old forum thread from 2008 if you want to see for yourself. And here's the Tier Maker community tier list results. Fuck off with that. You don't give a singular fuck about Soul Calibur. You only like it because Link is in it. Also, Soul Calibur 3 is better than 2. Fight me, nerds.
Like, you have Geralt and 2B. Like, what a downgrade. You know, imagine going from Link, the greatest video game character of all time, to freaking Geralt. Okay? One of the most overrated fantasy heroes in, like, the past 20 years. Okay? You know, nobody cares about that Elric and Melibene ripoff. Nobody! Nobody likes Geralt.
Nobody likes Geralt. Dude, The Witcher has a fucking mainstream TV show. Probably shit, but still. And I remember when Soul Calibur 6 came out, people thought it was awesome he was in the game. And also awesome when 2B was added. Be gone, tourist.
And it's just one of those things. It's embarrassing seeing people seriously try to prop up Steam as like a viable alternative to Nintendo.
I don't need to go any details about why playing games on the Nintendo Switch is worse than playing on PC at home or on the Steam Deck on the go in almost every way, do I? I like how he describes Steam as a viable alternative, as if Nintendo is the only thing that matters, and everything else is just secondary. But that's to be expected with him, I guess.
Because, like, you know, what's the big game everyone's talking about now? Stellar Blade, you know? That's not coming out on PC. You know, Stellar Blade, that's not coming out on PC, right? You know, like, everyone knows that these games are going to come out, like, on PC eventually, but the fact that you have to wait a year... Like, you really are just better off buying a console.
No. Oh my god. There are so many games to play on PC that if you actually play and actually like video games, you will have enough games to play for an entire lifetime. Also, don't forget, every Nintendo game is playable on PC. Something he likes to conveniently forget whenever he talks about this shit.
Right? Unless you're like me and specifically primarily buy Nintendo games, like, there is no reason to own a gaming PC. You know, like, like, the gaming PC works for me because it allows me to avoid the hardware that I hate, right? But, like, if you're just a neophyte who's just getting a gaming PC because, like, oh, it has all the best games, like, you are in for a rude awakening.
Only if you have the Nintendo fanboy blinders on, my dude. I could use myself as an example if you want. I played 3 big Nintendo games last year, 2023, and none of them made it into my top 10 games of the year. Go watch my top games of 2023 video if you haven't yet. It's pretty good if I do say so myself.
Boyo, because Pow World doesn't live up to the hype. Baldur's Gate 3 doesn't live up to the hype. Elden Ring doesn't live up to the hype.
He's still mad about Pal World and Nintendo not winning Game of the Year for the last 2 years. Let it go, dude. It's gonna be okay. I promise.
You know, like, we have, like, new Elden Ring DLC coming out, like, in the next couple of months, and does anyone care? Is anyone talking about it? No.
Do you literally talk to nobody on the internet even though you're on it all the time? Like me, to be honest. Tons of people are getting ready for that DLC. Hell, it's making me kinda want to play the game again too. But man, that game really murdered my soul, so maybe not.
The game is a complete joke.
Yeah, this was not an editing mistake. He had to do this right in the middle of recording the video because why not? Gotta get your chalky milk to own the Nintendo haters, dude.
Baldur's Gate 3 is just one example of just everything wrong with PC gaming. right? It has nothing to do with like high quality video games or good graphics or good stories or like, you know, making games that are better for adults, right? It's just something targeted towards casual gamers, right? It is a mobile tier. Like, it is a mobile game, essentially.
So many awful takes in one video, holy shit. I hope you guys will understand why I chose this over anything related to Stellar Blade or anything else. Calling Baldur's Gate 3 a mobile game. Really? It's literally a fully fledged RPG experience, which have been prevalent on the PC for, shit, since like the 70s. Tell me you know nothing about RPGs without telling me you know nothing about RPGs.
So, with that in mind, like, when you just look at, like, the reality of what's happening with the gaming sphere, like, more and more developers, more and more, you know, superior Japanese developers are refusing to develop for PC, right? There's no reason to. The audience isn't there.
Actually, the PC market has been growing quite a bit in Japan, and probably has more prevalence now than home consoles. The Switch is popular because it's portable, but lots of Japanese devs have been porting to PC day one. Some have suddenly stopped for some reason, which I don't really get, but it is what it is. But if you search PC gaming in Japan, this article was literally the first result that shows a massive 43% rise in Japan that happened in spite of the global market shrinkage in 2022. Literally clueless.
Right? They would never play a good, interesting video game. All they care about is like pirating their games and bragging about how much better their $2,000 gaming rigs are compared to consoles, right?
Bro, I use a GTX 1070 that I got back in 2016 to play games at much better performance than anything on the Switch. And also to do everything I've done on this channel and more. And I want you to listen to me closely. Being able to pirate is a positive. You shill. You fucking bootlicker. You corporate cuck.
You know, that was the thing with Linus Tech Tips, right? Like, oh, I could build a $500 PC that is more powerful than a PlayStation 5. No, you can't. Like, it isn't possible. But, like, the narrative has kind of taken hold among the normies, people who don't understand technology and don't understand video games, that like, oh, PC gaming is better because it just is. But the reality is that isn't true, right? The reality is that PC gaming is not all that relevant, not all that popular, and is lagging behind its competitors, right?
I like that little pause there. The reality is that you're wrong. The PC is better at literally everything than the consoles, except, and a lot of PC guys don't want to admit this, but I will, the only positive thing consoles still have in 2024, physical media. And once that goes away, all you have is just an overpriced digital rental box with even less consumer rights and options, with the market entirely under the control of console makers. Have fun with that.
I only use mine in order to keep up with modern gaming and to dismiss games that like people like to hype up as being genuinely great. You know, the Horizon Zero Dawns, the God of Wars, you know, like...
Listen, I will bash Sony's Horizon and God of Snore wannabe movie games all day long, but anyone could do the same thing to any Nintendo game. Just dismiss them as filthy casual easy slop that tricks you into thinking it's good with member berries. Two can play at this game.
And now I'm getting into like Tales of Arise, and I'm like 7 hours in now, and I'm really, really enjoying it, right? This one game that could easily run on a Nintendo Switch is the only reason I have my gaming PC set up right now.
Did you hear that little injection of copium there? It could run on the Nintendo Switch, you say. Maybe that headcanon is the only way you've convinced yourself into liking it.
You know, I would prefer it if Bandai Namco would just port this one game to Nintendo consoles.
And now he's port begging, after saying PC doesn't have games and Switch does. Got it.
You know, I know you can do it. It's not that hard. You know, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is probably way more demanding than this is.
Dude, Xenoblade 3 ran like shit. Did you even play it? That game stuttered so much and had this weird auto-scaling resolution that made it look like dog shit when you actually take an even slightly closer look.
Right? Like, you need to stop making excuses and port these games to Nintendo consoles. There is no reason for me to play games like this on an inferior, more expensive piece of hardware.
You heard it here, folks. Nintendo Switch is superior to any gaming PC out there. Pack it up, Master Racers. You might as well just give up on the hobby or get a Switch. My god, I can't believe this is an actual person who actually thinks these things. And you might be thinking, he's gotta be a troll. Please be a troll. No. Go look at his channel if you want. He's been at this same narrative for quite a long time. I initially didn't want to cover this guy for Worst Take of the Month because it's really low-hanging fruit, but he's been making some weird fucking videos lately, and the first time I heard this particular one, I was like, wow. This might be one of the worst videos with some of the worst takes I have ever seen. I had no choice. You forced my hand, and now my brain is in pain. Thank you. Now, finally, on to the worst take of the month. And without wasting anyone's time, it's the ADL. Yes, the Anti-Defamation League, once again coming out in full force to try to exert their will over other people because that's all they do. This time they have their sights set on Steam and are calling them out for fostering hate communities or some shit and allowing far-right extremism and stuff on their platform.
Oh shit, here we go again.
As with everything that ADL does, there's always some sort of half-truth or lie by omission that needs to be taken into account whenever you read one of their fake news reports. I don't remember where I saw it, but apparently all of this right-wing hate accounts for 0.3% of all the millions of accounts on Steam. Or was it 0.03%? I can't remember. Either way, we're talking about a fraction of a percent here. This is not an issue. Oh, and to make it even less of an issue, do you want to know what the #1 hate symbol or expression of hate on Steam was that they recorded? Pepe memes. Yeah, so if even all of the other expressions are legit, we're once again talking about a fraction of a percent. A fraction of a fraction of a percent at that. And by shining a light on them like this, you're probably giving them more clout and relevancy.
If you're looking for the guilty, you need only look into a mirror.
Oh, and apparently US Senator Mark Warner fell for it, and thinks this should be addressed in the public sphere. So fuck him too. Corrupt, dishonest piece of trash pro-censorship politician. I'm sorry guys, I hate getting political on this channel, but it keeps invading my favorite hobby, and I'm not for it. I want these corrupt politicians, bureaucrats, and international tyrants out of here.
Your life is nothing. You serve zero purpose. You should kill yourself now.
Now, on to the worst take of the month.
I know. Just hear me out.
No, I don't think I will. But before we get into it, I want to give a shout out to all the brain-dead fanboys who decided to console war on the holidays. Even on Christmas fucking morning. Granted, this was expected behavior. They do this every year, especially the saltiest of ponies on the X-Twatter. Special shout out and worst take honorable mention to that generic Eric who says this shit.
To the Sony stables, happy holidays, Merry Xmas, and whatever else you celebrate. Xbox, go fuck yourselves. PC Master Race, go fuck yourselves. Nintendrons, go fuck yourselves. And for the love of God, leave the children alone.
I'm frustrated that the human race is doomed.
Wow. Do you really have nothing better to do on Christmas Day, dude? I mean, you probably got no games.
One game, I don't know why.
In case you missed it a while back, we roasted Greg Miller for calling all PC Master Racers pedos. I guess it's Nintendo fanboys' turn for whatever reason. Also, shout out to this IGN article. Holy shit, it's really bad, but subjective, so whatever. Anyway, back to the topic at hand.
Bloodborne.
The reason why I've featured this video as worst take of the month is a bit more complicated. Basically what Jess here talks about in this video is how Bloodborne is just fine at 30 FPS and doesn't need to be remastered or updated or anything. Should just be left as is because it's a masterpiece as is. If you know anything about gaming, I probably don't need to explain to you why 60 FPS is objectively better for literally any action-based game ever. But if you still want to think that you like 30 FPS more for whatever game, fine, you do you. Here's the real problem I have with this video though. No offense to Jess, but she comes off as a very safe content creator. One that game developers and publishers may actually listen to or take into consideration. meaning that the elusive 60 FPS Bloodborne remaster or even just a simple patch on PS5 that so many fans actually want is now less likely to happen. Why would you put that energy out there? Even in the video you say that having a 60 FPS toggle option would be fine, right? So why even make this video? Leave it to fanboys, and fangirls, of Sony games to actively advocate for having less. Couldn't be me. You guys have such low standards, it's baffling. Also, Jess, what the hell is this?
Lance McDonald's 60 FPS mod is a real tangible thing on jailbroken PlayStations. Not that I'd know anything about that.
I'm retarded?
As you'd expect, this whole Gamergate 2 situation has made a lot of really terrible humans expose themselves with some of the most wildly retarded takes I've ever seen, such as this person of an Aryan persuasion, asking for a final purge of gamers who are against them.
Nein, 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 nein! Was alles soll ich von diesen Jugendschweinen noch ertragen?
Thank you, lowest expectations, for exposing my poor innocent robot brain to this shit show. But, believe it or not, this month's worst take has nothing to do with that. Do you gamers watching this like Resident Evil? Would you like to see a remaster of Resident Evil 5 now that they've done everything up to 4? A lot of people would, probably, right? Well, according to our favorite gaming journalists at IGN, doing a remake of that game would be bad. Very, very bad.
A whole new environmental structure and scenario design that reins in the action and dials up the horror would bring it in line with Capcom's other remakes. But all of this doesn't account for Resident Evil 5's most notorious problem: racism.
Ha 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 ha, wow. Oh wait, he's serious. Let me laugh some more. Ha 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 ha. Look at that like to dislike ratio, boys. What a glorious sight to behold. Here comes the white savior melty brain at IGN thinking the game needs to be rewritten to not offend black people, and completely disregards all the black people out there who have played and love Resident Evil 5. But go on and tell them what they should think, Mr. White Boy.
Set in a fictional West African country, Resident Evil 5's primary antagonists are black people. Yes, it's technically the Ouroboros virus that protagonist Chris Redfield is fighting, but the parasite's host is depicted as a nation of mobs and primitives who are violent even before their infection. Intentionally or not, Resident Evil 5 positions Africa as the Dark Continent, an uncivilized world harboring a diseased population that needs gunning down via Western intervention in the name of global security.
I can't believe you dumb first world privileged humans are still crying about fake virtual racism that doesn't exist. You think this game portrays black people in a racist way because you are racist? You can only see things on a surface level, and think one fictional depiction of one part of Africa paints all of Africa and black people in a bad light. How can you be this brain dead? Why do you still have a job at IGN? Does IGN stand for incompetent game naysayers? Ignorant game noobs? Idiot game nutters? It's pathetically easy to pull this white guilt soy boy's arguments apart in this video, even if you haven't played the game. Just a brief rundown of the story is all you need to know, because the main enemy of the game is still Albert Wesker, a white man, whose activities turned a bunch of Africans into zombies. If you don't kill them, they will make life worse for the rest of this African community, and there's no saving them once they transform. Put them out of their misery. It's not racist to do so, and it wasn't racist or frowned upon in general to do so in previous games. Anyone with a single brain cell could figure this shit out. And then you say the game would be better with a black protagonist, even though you never even talked about Sheva, despite showing her on screen multiple times. Clear dishonesty. Which is a required trait to have to be a game journalist in 2024. Scratch that, the year doesn't matter, all game journalists are dishonest all the time.
On a related note, another group you should never expect anything positive or decent out of: fanboys. And yeah, I found a good Xbox fanboy to feature as Worst Take of the Month. Finally, a small little YouTuber tried to poke the hornet's nest by defending Xbox Game Pass price increase and calling everyone who's against it broke.
Just stop!
Nice. Bootlicking at its finest. Surely the Sony ponies are beat out with this one, right? Right? Why, PlayStation fanboys, why? Why do you always make yourselves look like the biggest deranged idiots in the gaming community every single month without fail? Roll the clip.
100%. Take it off PC. Matter of fact, you already locked it out of 177 countries. Stop selling it on PC. Okay? Why would I support the game on PC? Like, why would I support it being on PC? They get to play for free. They don't want to make an account. They want to act like quiet little baby bitches. I'm glad they're leaving. I'm glad. The less of them there are, the more I feel like supporting the game and buying it on PlayStation.
What the actual fuck? The less PC players play Helldivers 2, the more I want to support it. This guy's not trolling either, folks, I assure you.
So in any case, Sony hasn't lost any money. And you know what? Again, the less PC players are on this game, just knowing that makes me sleep better at night. I don't like these people. I don't. They're cheaters, they're scammers, they're awful people. They are a cry bitch ass fan base. I want less of them. The less of them there are, the better. That's it.
I sleep better at night knowing less PC gamers play my game. Oh my god, I could not believe it when I heard it either, folks. It's one thing to be such a massive fanboy to one platform, but to hold such contempt for other players just because they don't play on the platform you do, that's just next level. Which brings us to Greg Miller.
What I do need is people to get their shit figured out and get Dragon Age Inquisition working on a Steam Deck. Tell all your PC friends about this, Greg.
Hey, PC friends who haven't been caught and put in jail yet for being pedophiles, I would really love it if you would help Andy by modding this. I know you love your mods. I know you. The developers, they had a vision and they made a game, but you say, fuck that. I'd like to put this cube in it that breaks everything. If you could help Dragon Age Inquisition get running before Chris Hansen and the FBI break down your door, that'd be great.
It's amazing how every time you open your mouth, you prove you're an idiot.
Wow, similar energy here, except this guy is somehow part of the mainstream press. Yep, he's supposed to be a so-called professional, but here he is being a blatant douche to an extremely large group of gamers for no apparent reason, other than what you could probably guess. Yeah, he's a massive Sony pony as well. And they call his show kind of funny, but... Not funny! Honestly, I can't decide which fanboy is worse this time, so enjoy the free double feature. But man, I thought I was finally going to be able to feature an Xbox fanboy for once, but no. The Sony ponies once again have proven to be the most deranged and ridiculous fanboys of them all. Every single time. One game, I don't know why. I'm trying really hard to be fair, I promise.
It'd be funny if it weren't so pathetic.
Now that we've covered all the important bits, time for the worst take of the month. If you've seen where this segment usually goes, I want you to take a guess which fanbase will be featured this time for Worst Take. PlayStation fanboys, you say? Actually, you're wrong.
Okay, I believe you.
Who am I kidding? Of course it's the ponies again. Every goddamn month they say the most deranged shit, and this time we have a case where this guy might actually get himself into some trouble. Though, from what I hear, he has a history of this idiocy and he's still around, so... Anyway, get a load of this.
Sony PlayStation leadership wanted to please PC pedo rapist terrorists. The PlayStation community is being taken advantage of. I'm glad PlayStation gamers are finally understanding my position, and the truth is, they're erase Sony the leadership through any means these make a difference.
Huh? Here we go again with someone calling PC players pedos and more for no apparent reason other than the fact you are so goddamn mad that PlayStation is releasing games on PC so you can no longer claim to have exclusives for your precious box. And not only that, you posted a veiled threat to, well, his next tweet spells it out pretty clearly.
Like I'd give a fuck if I had military power, Sony PlayStation HQ would be painted red already, FOH.
My god, this is the most deranged fanboy of the month by far. And I've heard this dude has been banned for similar things on X-Twitter before this, so I guess he never learned anything. Clearly, because he kept it up 3 weeks later.
Jim Ryan may have left Sony, but his crime is worthy of a Sicario execution at the dinner table. Xbox is dying from PC and Nintendo is thriving without PC, but these molesters, lying frauds at PlayStation think they can get everyone without losing anyone. It don't work like that, it's war.
Yeah, I think this was the correct choice for the worst take of the month. Holy shit. Taking this stupid twatter console war to such a level is beyond deranged, and this guy probably should be committed. Although, maybe it is PlayStation's fault after all. If only they had some games to play on PS5 instead.
One game. I don't know why. I bought a PS5 with no games to buy.
The pain and humiliation I feel daily are immense.
Xbox going full third party, or basically them starting to port every single console exclusive they have to the Switch and PlayStation. But get this, it was just rumors. Before Xbox confirmed or talked about anything of the sort, people were losing their minds over this, and it was hilarious to see. Xbox fans were unbelievably angry over the mere possibility of people on other platforms being able to play the games they allegedly love so much. Sounds backwards, doesn't it? The mind of a fanboy is truly an enigma, I suppose. But man, oh man, the salt! Look at this! Oh my god, I can feel my brain cells dropping by the second.
70, 60, 50, 40, 30, 20, retard.
Ah, that was a nice diversion. Now, back to reality. Xbox had a little podcast sort of thing with the three main corpos of the company where they revealed what's really going on. They're porting 4 games that have already been out for quite a while now to PlayStation and Switch. That's it. No other real announcements other than that, as the rest of the podcast was just full of meaningless corpo jargon about Xbox's growth or whatever that don't really concern actual gamers. So yeah, all that getting worked up over the smallest shit.
Congratulations, you played yourself.
So what's going on over on the other side of this stupid console war? Well, you know.
One game. I don't know why. I bought a PS5 with no games to buy.